Hello, everyone. How are we doing today? Adam here from Three Cut Radio, and today I have someone who I really don't need to introduce. He is, if I was to rattle off everything, all of your accomplishments, I wouldn't. It would be about a 5 to 10 minute long intro. Kerrang, esports, NBA, wrestling. What hasn't he done? It's Simon Hill. How you doing, my friend?
Thank you. What an introduction, dude. Thank you so much for having me. I mean, that was like the biggest put over ever, but yeah, very kind of you. And yeah, man, I'm good. How are you doing? Thanks for having me on, by the way.
A pleasure. Absolute pleasure. I'm really good, thank you. Yeah. I've just recorded a podcast 2 days ago now, I think. Yeah, 2 days ago.
Nice.
And then obviously I'm recording this one with you. So I have my month set now, pretty much. So we're going well.
You're keeping busy, man. That's the best thing to do. You got to keep busy. But yeah, I've been checking out your podcast as well. So to get invited on, man, I'm super stoked. So yeah, thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on. It means everything. Thank you. Um, yeah, as I said, Kerrang, esports, NBA, wrestling. I, what is it? Look, when you how can you quantify that in your mind? That because that is a CV and a half.
I don't think I can quantify it in my mind, to be honest. I still look back and think, do you know what? I've just lived a cool life. It's been tough and it's been very hard at times, both mentally and physically. But do you know what? There's a lot of people that would pay a lot of money to do some of the things that I get to do as a job. So I'm very fortunate, very grateful, very humble for all the opportunities. And I think, it's about, this as well, Adam. Look, you've got to work hard and you've got to put the graft in. You've got to really put yourself out there. And, I've always been that person who isn't afraid to crawl into someone's DMs and just be like, look, here's my show reel, here's all my stuff. If you've ever got anything lined up, give me a shout. Let's talk. And there are people that, sometimes are a bit too prideful of doing that. Whereas I am just like, you know what, look, it gets me gigs and it gets me work and I get to do these cool stuff, these cool things that you speak about. So, yeah, it's been a ride, Adam, to say the least.
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. Like you have to with podcasting or anything of the sort, you do have to kind of swallow that pride and be like, right, okay, you got to be vulnerable. I
Yeah,
think that's what it is. You have to be vulnerable and be like, right, this is
keyword.
me. I'm like, hello, would you like to come on? And sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes I've messaged people and we haven't been able to sort something out. That's fine. Like, because when you
Yeah.
message someone to come on your podcast, they're not expected to come on. You're asking them.
No, no, yeah, absolutely. And I think, that's another key thing in the entertainment business is
Mhm.
even though that, you speak of this amazing CV that I have, I still get knockbacks. I still get more knockbacks than I do roles. And, that's whether, that specific style doesn't suit the product or whatever it may be. I think what people, you have to be tough. You have to accept those knockbacks and just go to the next one. And I have certainly been guilty in my early days when I was at Kerrang and then making the transition over to like TV and stuff. When I was getting all those knockbacks, I was just down in the dumps, and it took some really good people, some amazing people, way more talented than I am, to pick me up and go, look, this is normal. You're going to get this throughout your entire career. So you have to just brush yourself off and move on to the next. And that's exactly what I've done. There's several examples I'm sure we'll cross over during this interview where something's ended, and rather than getting down in the dumps, I've just gone, right, so how do I get the next one? How do we go to the next one? How do we get to the next level? And that's how I've always been wired, I think.
Yeah, it's one of those where you've got to get that thick skin, I think, because it is that vulnerability. You're leaving yourself open to criticism, to knockbacks. But when you get that response, like, yeah, that's great. Yeah, let's go for it. Yeah, we'll work together. Like that, there for the dopamine. As soon as you get that positive message back, like we're
Yeah.
good to go.
Yeah,
It's nothing
100%.
better. It's
Yeah,
so great.
it's satisfying, and it also, I guess, it's also like a level of respect as well,
Yeah.
because they see that you have something to offer. So,
Yeah.
I mean, for yourself, when you get talent that want to come and come on the podcast, come and want to work with you, it's because they trust the product that you've got to offer, and they trust that you're going to deliver something that will put them in a good light, and that's testament to yourself as well.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's been the goal since day one because we were saying shortly before we started recording, like I don't want to be that guy who clips little things that are taken out of context because we know we've seen certain things where if you take it out of context, it gains traction.
Yeah,
Sooner or later, it might gain traction, but sooner or later, it could also bite you. And
yeah,
I'd
100%.
much rather just do what we're doing at the moment, which is positivity.
Yeah, yeah. Positivity is what keeps the world going around, man. Like people don't realize, although we're in, it's been tough times over the last few years, and there's certainly
Yeah.
things going on in the world that are, very, very tough right now. It's the more positivity you bring, the better the world gets. And
Exactly.
I'm a real preacher of that. You'll see on my Twitter every week, at least, there'll be some form of positive quote and ridiculous picture to go with it. But it's one of those, look, if that makes one person smile that day, then that's my job done,
Couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more. It's too much. I always say this personally, it's like a personal motto. It's too much for one person to change the entire world. But if you make one person smile, then you potentially change that person's world.
Yeah, 100%. Spot on. Love that. Absolutely love that. I'll clip that myself. I'll use
You
that,
can
Adam.
have it,
I'll
my
use
friend. You can have it. It, it rings true. It rings
Yeah.
true. Like I forgot. I think he's just up there. That took longer than it should have done. A certificate because I do personally. My life goal is to become a counselor. I got certificates in that. So when it comes to breathing positivity to other people, it takes more effort in my eyes to be negative than it does to be positive.
100%.
I
Yeah.
never understand it.
Yeah. No, neither do I. I think sometimes the world can get wrapped up in other people's, if somebody's got, I don't want to call it drama, but if there are problems with other people, or there's gossip and rumors and things like that, there's certain parts of the world can get wrapped up in that themselves, where it doesn't concern them, and that's where the negativity starts. And again, as you say, that is actually more work and way more difficult than just moving in your own direction and breeding more positivity. So but that's enough of the negative talk there, Adam. We're keeping this all positive, but yeah,
Yes.
absolutely, couldn't agree more. And I do love that little quote you just came out with.
Thank you. Feel free to use it, mate.
I will indeed. You'll see that on Twitter later.
I expect royalties.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to. Yeah, I'll tag you in it. I'll quote you.
Oh, yeah. Moving on. What was the brainchild behind your Keep It Locked podcast? Because I had a listen to a certain episode, which I will get to soon, and this is one person I've loved this person since day one. But what was the brainchild to start the Keep It Locked podcast?
So, like many people, when the pandemic hit, it was finding a new outlet for content. And with my radio and broadcast background, I thought, why not try and start a radio show or a podcast from home or something? I've got the equipment, I know what I'm doing, I know how to present. So, what can I do? I'm an interviewer at a promotion. I work in the wrestling industry, so why don't I use my contacts and try and build something cool that will also still get the talent seen and noticed, and they can tell their stories. We can have a fun time. And I was like, right, okay. So figured it all out. Spoke to a friend of mine, Lee Hunt, who is an incredible graphic designer, even though he doesn't do it for a living. He's actually a marketing director, but he designed all the artwork for me. And it was originally called Gone Gold, which is actually gaming terminology for when a game is finished being developed. So originally the plan was, because I made a name for myself in the gaming industry, to do something there, but I was like, well, I'm getting quite over in the wrestling world, so maybe I should capitalize on that. And the goal was to, again, just get the talent scene, get them to tell their story. How can we keep the talent relevant by just giving them an outlet to talk and have a fun time? Well-researched interviews as well, which I thought was really key. Some nice, fun, quirky little facts that some people might not know, and have fun with it. So I got all that together, and I'll be honest, although I've had all this broadcast experience, I had no idea what I was getting into. At first, it was video and audio, which became a lot of work. And then I decided to rebrand to keep it locked and focus just on the audio. And that's where I actually got all the traction, all the numbers. It grew in popularity overnight. I couldn't believe waking up on a morning to see like I was number 3 in Ireland in the Apple podcast charts and stuff. And as you say, there were some incredible stories, some amazing guests. My first one, Adam Maxted, I was clearly nervous in that interview. But I'd known Adam a while. I remember after a show, we all went out to this bar, and me and Adam weren't feeling it at all. So just like, should we just go and get some food? This is 1 a.m. I was like, yeah, cool. So we just sat in Mackey's for an hour and a half, just talking shit, like literally. And we kind of bonded over a lot of things. We actually have a lot in common as well. But yeah, he agreed to be the first one. And then when I came back and rebranded, it was Valkyrie from NXT. And she was so nervous. But when I eventually kind of broke her in a little bit, she was so much fun and just laughed all the way through it. So I've had some really amazing moments, got to interview a lot of good friends, but some amazing talent along the way. Obviously, I had that deal with Ring of Honor. So, yeah, I'm sure you're going to ask about some of the stories now, gathering on one of the talent that you've just about to mention. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing which one I listen
to. I really like that, though. I do think it's key. I really think it's important, if you're going to start something like this, to start off with someone that you feel comfortable with and you believe you're friends with. Like my first ever podcast was with Ethan Allen.
Yeah.
He was there with my beginner training courses. I've known him since he debuted in Future Shock. I've seen him from the beginning onwards, and they are, him and Luke, are two of the most elite level talents in the world in my eyes.
Yeah.
And so sound.
Yeah. Another one that, for me, the pandemic helped people like Ethan Allen, because he came out of it absolutely jacked and stacked, but he also came out of it with this new attitude.
Yeah.
And he really focused on his in-ring as well. So he flourished out of the pandemic.
Massively.
Incredible talent.
It sucks what's happened, but he'll come back bigger and stronger. He's that person. There's no doubt. But it really is key if you're nervous. It provides somewhat of a safety blanket that you're on with someone that you believe is like you're comfortable with, and then as you get comfortable, then you can branch out to getting people on that you don't necessarily know too well.
Yeah.
But by that time, your skills have improved.
Yeah, you're a little more settled. And there's a famous saying by Ozzy Osbourne. If you don't feel nervous before you go out on stage, that's when it's time to give in, because you don't care anymore. And even before every episode, I'd always get butterflies. I'd always be nervous, even if it was somebody I knew. Because obviously, if it's someone you know as well, I guess the counteracting part of that is they've already got a perception of you. They've already got a judgment on you because they know you. So you've also got to play up to that a little bit. And that's also a challenge at times. I remember before I started working for Deep Silver, I knew the people I was doing the interview with, and only weeks before I'd hosted the Just Dance World Cup in front of thousands of people. In front of these three people, I broke, I shattered because I knew them. Whereas on the Just Dance World Cup final, smash it out the park, rode the nerves, did what I needed to do, but I crumbled in front of three people that I knew because you find it harder to reach the extra level of judgment than they've already got. Sometimes there is that little bit of thing, but obviously, I guess what you also have is the safety blanket of a screen.
Yeah.
So you're able to kind of just flow with it a little bit. But yeah, it was. I still get messages every day. When is Keep It Locked coming back? And I did take a mental break. My last episode was before I flew out to Poland last year with Mecha Wolf and Bestie, the NWA Tag Team Champions, and Mecha Wolf is the closest person I am to in wrestling. We are really good mates, speak all the time. And as soon as he went to NWA, kind of just dropped him a message. I was like, bro, let's do this. And that was my last episode. And I just needed that mental detachment because you know yourself that this is actually harder than what people think it is, especially when it's done right. And I think the overnight success of Keep It Locked put a lot of pressure on me because some episodes I was just getting 4,500 listens a week, and I was just like, how do I better this? Because I've always been that person. I always need to get to the next level. I'm always a grower. I love learning. I love developing and helping people along the way. So I put a lot of pressure on myself during all of that as well. And when that last episode hit, I remember I was in Poland, saw the analytics, text John the screenshot, the screenshot, and I was just like, holy dude, like, look at this. We had hit 10,000 listens in 3.5 weeks. And I was just like, this is ridiculous. So I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to focus on what I need to do in Poland because I had all this amazing work over there. And then, just take a bit of a break from it. And then wrestling came back and I got super busy with all the bookings. But I have now put the wheels in motion to bring it back for a 3-season, 12-part episode. So there'll be more news on that soon.
Fantastic stuff. I mean, you've got to look out for number one because if your heart's not into it, then the product will suffer.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. And I will never be seen like that.
Yeah, I 100% see that. Yeah, it's one of them where number one comes first, regardless, and self-care isn't selfish.
No, it's not. It's not. And I think a lot of people learned that during the pandemic.
Yeah.
We all have to look out for ourselves and, whilst doing that, just, checking in on your friends and your family to make sure everyone's okay. And if there's anything you can do to help, then you have to do that. And, look, I made those decisions for my own well-being. It was the best decision I made at the time because I'm in a position now where I can go back and go, man, I'm so pumped to do some cool stuff again with this. And this was so good for so many reasons that, it'd be silly not to bring it back.
I'll be looking forward to it, mate. I'll be looking forward to it.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Because there is a specific episode, he says, as he segues into...
Nice seg, man. Nice seg. Love it.
You've had... I'm just going to list off some before I mention the one, because you've had the likes of Ace Austin, Mike Bennett, and just so many incredible talents. But Rosemary, Oh my. I I've always been one for the supernatural, like dark, like Undertaker, Kane, Bray Wyatt. I've always liked that side of wrestling because I feel like wrestling is a massive suspension of disbelief. But when you get a character like that is so entrenched in pure character and story, you get lost in it. I get lost watching Rosemary work.
Yeah, yeah, she's incredible. Now, the story behind this, and I'll try not to bury the gimmick too much here, but so Rosemary and I tried to make this work for months. And as you know, when you're working with the bigger promotions, there's a certain level of clearance that needs to happen. So with Rosemary, we were back and forth, and she is lovely to speak to. I can't really say any more than that without burying the gimmick. But yeah, she's really great and great to work with, and there were certainly discussions before we went live. But that interview was so much fun because that was my first in gimmick interview, rather than what they would probably call a shoot. But yeah, so that was my first in gimmick. So it was kind of just reacting on the fly. So I knew the questions which were submitted beforehand, and then, but obviously I never knew how she was going to react. Obviously, you know that Rosemary is very unpredictable. So I was kind of just reacting on the fly and trying to just go with it. And yeah, it was a lot of fun, and she was super cool to work with. I'd love to work with her again in the future.
I think life would be complete if Three Count Radio ever, Rosemary and Three Count Radio were ever in the same title. I think life as we know it would be complete. I'd be content. It's just, it's amazing. It's just she's a wonder to listen to because you'd never like, especially nowadays, the sort of reality sort of based things where we see the real person. You don't really see that
No,
with
you
Rosemary,
don't.
like at all.
No, you
just
don't.
see
And
Rosemary.
I think that's what's super special about somebody like Rosemary is it's very rare that you get that level of character depth these days. And, you know, not just that, but she's actually brilliant in the ring. She's incredible. So talented. But yeah, you know, obviously you had like the Bray Wyatts, Alexa Bliss, who I think could be in Hollywood. Like she's insane. How she engulfed that whole gimmick around the Bray Wyatt thing, I think it was her that was stealing that show, not Bray. I love Bray Wyatt and what he was doing, the Fiend, whatever you want to call him. But for me, it was all about what she brought to the table because, again, like Rosemary, she was able to just sink really deep into that gimmick and just embrace it. And I absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
And yeah, Rosemary has that same effect. Whenever you're watching her, you get really lost. You believe you're watching what she is, the demon assassin. You believe everything that she says, and that is the qualities that somebody like that level of talent brings. And when you get the opportunity, you know, you get the email from Impact offering you that opportunity, you're absolutely going to take it. You know, definitely one of the more fun or challenging interviews as well to do because you don't know what's going to happen. You know, because it's all in gimmick, it's all character work. So yeah, fantastic interview. Definitely one of the highlights as well for me.
It's insanely difficult, as you said before. It's very difficult nowadays to really sink the fans deep into your belief. But when you're watching, you literally you're sitting watching Rosemary, the entrance, the music, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
Everything you're taken on that ride. You're there. Like it takes a lot to take you out because she's that believable. She really is, and it's very very weird. But you do sit there thinking, yes, she is undead. You can't tell me otherwise.
Yeah, 100%, 100%, and that's what I love about professional wrestling is when you do get those characters that come around every so often, you get so transfixed in it.
Yeah.
And, I will sit there for hours and watch stuff like that because I think it's absolutely amazing. And, I remember, again, going back to Alexa Bliss, I remember that whole period where she was working with The Fiend and a little bit afterwards where I would watch 3 hours of Raw to see her 2-minute segment or whatever, because she had me hooked. And that's why I think she could do Hollywood. I think she's incredibly talented.
Alexa Bliss is someone who you give her something, then she'll not just take it and run with it, she'll get a gold medal with it completely.
Oh, yeah.
Her,
she's a talent.
the run with Bray as the Fiend, he was the wild card because I think people kind of, I don't think they knew what they were going to get with the Fiend, but they knew they were going to get this unstoppable monster.
Yeah.
That will turn you in twain if you wanted to, just like that.
Yeah.
But once you put Alexa Bliss into the fold, you've got a wild card there. Yeah. Now you don't know what's going to happen. That's what makes it gripping.
Yeah, 100%. And I thought that whole storyline was perfect, and it was something, it was quite a long storyline as well for WWE, which they don't tend to do that often anymore. But I think that was a reason to tune in every week, because it was, as you say, so captivating. And I remember when I interviewed James Ellsworth, and it was actually Ellsworth who said to me that he thinks Alexa Bliss can be in Hollywood. He turned around and said, she's the star of that show. And he's right. I genuinely think he's right. I mean, for me now, I love him or hate him, Reigns is, for me, one of the best champions in the whole of professional wrestling right now. He, again, as weird as this might sound, needed something like the pandemic to grow. And he came out of it just a whole new entity, and I love it. I love him. Everything about him, I just love.
I agree. He needed this. He needed something. He needed time away, and rightfully so. For his own health, he took time away.
Yeah,
rightfully so. But when he came back, I was one of those where I was like, "Nah, it's not here to turn that," because I just never in my life thought I'd ever see him do it. I never thought I'd see it. But it's something now that was tangible, because for so long he was his face that wasn't getting those reactions. It was polarizing. A word they like to use a lot.
Yeah.
But he had a ceiling. It sounds weird saying this, but he did. Reigns of all people, but he did have a ceiling, because there was that push every time that he'd go up. The fans pushed against him. I need to tell you, up, the fans pushed against him. But now that he's here, now that he's with this run that he's got, the boos are organic now. Like when he lost by DQ at the Rumble to Seth in one of my favorite matches I've watched in a long time.
Oh my God, it was so good.
Beautiful.
So good.
Beautiful. The storytelling.
Incredible. Yeah.
He stood in that ring, and those boos, I got chills. Those boos weren't Roman Reigns X-Pac Heat boos. They were like, fuck you. Like, we want you to lose boos. They were powerful. Yeah,
they were real. And I think that's what he's been able to do, is now not just absorb the boos he was getting when they were trying to, make him face, or trying to get you to like him. Like, it was more about, now it's more about, with Reigns, I feel, how can I piss this crowd off even more? And he's really gone full into this heel character. And I think I've got an idea of how WrestleMania is going to go, but I really want Reigns to win this.
I think we've seen this a lot, this main event. This time it's different, but it's still an element of the same. But I personally just to get that little notch of pure shithousery. I agree.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
that reaction. I mean, if it wasn't for the fact that Vince likes to go home happy at the end of a Mania, but nah, it needs to happen because
Yeah.
I don't know if the fans as a whole would accept Lesnar winning.
No, I don't think so. Although Lesnar's pretty over right now, I
Hmm.
still don't think it's the best decision, in my personal opinion, anyway. For whatever that's worth, but I feel like we could do a whole episode on just talking wrestling, Adamir. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, we could. I mean, just spent like 10 minutes on WWE, but yeah, that's incredible. Yeah, look, I think Main is going to be cool. I'm very excited for it. I'm also very excited for AEW tonight, so looking forward to that. I think MJF and CM Punk it's going to blow the roof off the place.
Your names there. You just when you reach that point where all you need to do is say the name.
Yeah, yeah. You don't need to do much else.
Yeah, that's it. It's going to be fantastic. Yeah,
Definitely.
Now, by nature, I was at physio the other day and I'm talking to him about something and I somehow go off on a tangent and talk about school for another 10 minutes and my mum had to literally go, Adam, shut up and finish what you were saying. By nature, I just go on tangents.
Me and you both, man. Yeah, I get paid to talk, so I think that's what it is. I just
True. Yeah, I do it voluntarily. On Bolton FM radio, I do it voluntarily. But yes.
Yeah, I love it. I love those kind of people, man. You can have some deep conversations.
Oh yeah, you'll never finish one, but you can have deep conversations.
Yeah, 100%.
And we've kind of glossed over it a little bit, but I'd like to focus a bit more on your commentary because, of course, we've mentioned Odyssey, TNT, and so many, just so many.
Yeah.
What is it like calling for these? What are some of the, if not the biggest promotions in Britain today? Pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a journey, and I think when I got offered the commentary gig at TNT, I was over the moon. And I felt like that was my next step. I started as a backstage. Well, my first ever gig in wrestling was actually a ring announcer for a small indie promotion in Essex. But then I'd gone on to backstage interview for TNT, which is where I started to kind of make a name for myself. And then I got offered the commentary gig there. And I was so excited because, I mean, first I'm getting to call with Mark Adams, who is one of the best in this country at doing that. And secondly, I am getting to call some amazing matches for a promotion that I'm incredibly passionate about. And I get paid to do it. So, I mean, look, everything about it was just amazing to me. So my first commentary gig was actually with Odyssey Pro Wrestling. And when I got approached for that, I got a call from Rick Marcus. And he explained the gig and what it was. And Curtis Hanson would be joining me on comms as colour. And I would be leading play-by-play. And again, that kind of focused a little bit into my broadcasting background. Obviously, they, also seen the same CV that you've seen. And yeah, we had a good hour and a half. I remember I was in the gym when he called and I was still working out, so there were a lot of grunts and groans for the first time we'd ever spoke. But he understood because he's a fitness freak and obviously he's a PT as well as a wrestler. So yeah, we were chatting and I was so excited. The vision that Odyssey Pro Wrestling have is amazing. The locker room is probably the most chilled but passionate locker room I've ever been a part of. The atmosphere that Ethan Edwards, Rick Marcus, Ryan Hunter, and Andre Decker, they've all created this amazing promotion that's although it's a family show, you feel like part of the family. And when I got pitched the whole concept, I was sold. I was sold immediately. So my first ever commentary gig was only August 2021. And then TNT came knocking with that idea to bring me back in as a commentator after Kieran Moran had left. So I was like, man, this is awesome. Like, this is now, like, this is my bread and butter. This is where I'm going to take off, and I'm so excited. And it was, literally I was on, I mean, bloody hell, Powered 4 TV must be sick of my voice now, because I'm on 2 promotions every month, or was on 2 promotions every month. 3 shows a month on their channel, and got to call some absolutely breathtaking matches, both for Odyssey Pro Wrestling. So I was there when we crowned the first ever Odyssey Pro Wrestling Women's Champion, as well as the Odyssey Pro Wrestling Champion. I was there when we crowned the new TNT World Champion, the Tag Team Championship change, the Women's Championship change, everything. Extreme Fields, part of this absolutely bonkers event of wrestling and music. I mean, I called in that day, what was it, 17 matches? My voice, I remember Mark and I, so I brought honey and lemon in. I didn't have any, I was like, surely the venue will have cups. All they had was these big, like, jugs. So we put boiling water in these big 3-liter jugs, whatever they are, and just 2 lemons and just a shitload of honey. And we sat at commentary with these giant tankard like jugs, just sipping all the way through. The glitz and glamour of pro wrestling, guys.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes you just have to make do. But we seriously got through that, and I couldn't have got through it without Mark, even though I did commentated more matches than Mark. But I won't take that away from him. He was my rock that day, and I feel like I was his as well. We pulled each other through that. It was a lot, not just from having to call so many matches, but also remembering so many talent that are on that card, the info about that talent on that card, and being able to deliver a different experience for 17 matches. It was a hell of a challenge, but to be a part of that was really, really special. I look back, and my first couple of commentary gigs, actually, I look back and go, oh, man, yeah, I was definitely learning still back then. And then when we were crowning, so we were coming to the, and this was another huge milestone that I got to be a part of, a very, very small part of, is I called pretty much the majority of the Lizzie Evo and Alexis Falcon feud last year. So that was amazing, but I was kind of involved, even if I wasn't calling, I was interviewing Lizzie for a TNT spot, or Alex for a TNT spot, and we were kind of going through these amazing promo packages and everything. It was so cool to be a very, very small part of that. And I remember we got to the Iron Woman match, and Jay Apter wanted to do a 3-man comms team for that event. Bring Kieran Moran back in for one last show, so that was great. And I'll be completely honest, it was all a bit up in the air at first, and then when it all happened, and it was Mark, Kieran, and I, Kieran brought out the best in me, and I never knew that was going to be a thing. So it was actually thanks to Kieran Moran and Mark Adams that my commentary developed and got to the level it's at now, because Kieran really did push me on that show. Although I was play-by-play, I'm having to deal with a different dynamic. I'm being able to bring 2 other people in to be able to deliver their analytics or their coverage, or and so it doesn't overlap, it doesn't sound messy or anything like that. And Kieran really did push me to a new level on that, and I'll be thankful for him for doing that. And look, TNT was an incredible promotion to work for. I absolutely loved my time there, and called again some some absolutely insane matches. Ignition shows I don't feel get enough eyes. The talent on the Ignition shows are unbelievable. You look at some of the younger guys. Tom Thelwell, if I ever got in a wrestling ring, that's my first opponent. That'd be my dream opponent to wrestle, Tom Thelwell. You know, you look at people like Scott Oberman, you look at Jimmy Jackson, RPD, you know, good friend of mine. Like, absolutely, I mean, that guy transitioned from a boxing ring, but looks like he's been wrestling for years.
Yeah.
He's unbelievable. You know, you look at people like Isaac North, you look at Lucy Sky, amazing talent. You look at Tonga, you know, who has just taken this country by storm. I've been fortunate. So there was a joke going around last year when I was working both TNT and Odyssey, ring announce for LWF as well, is that I saw Tonga and Synergy more than my own parents, because I would see them 3 to 4 times a month.
Yeah.
So, you know, there was a lot of traveling, a lot of service stations, a lot of Costa stops, but it was worth every second. And to be a part of all of those accolades, all of those incredible, memorable moments in British wrestling, and to be able to call that, and that's etched in history. Like, I am humbled, privileged, honored, and very fortunate to have been a part of it all. And, you know, long may it continue. Obviously, now the recent announcement, as you probably saw on social, is I'll be the new commentator at Kamikaze Pro. Very excited to get started with those guys. Obviously, they're a hometown promotion for me in Birmingham. I'll be there at Sky's the Limit 8, and again, a stat card. I mean, you know, you got Charles Crowley, you know, we've got some Chantel Jordan's there. I mean, there's some incredible matches. Clint Margera, you know, those guys are all going to be there, and it's a big card. So very excited to get started with Kamikaze. And yeah, Odyssey, we're back in April for War on the Shore. Obviously, a very historic event in Morecambe. And, you know, I think I was having this conversation. So we're in a locker room, and there was me, Scotty Rourke, and Big Guns Joe. And we were all talking, you know, look, we go out there and we do what we do because we love what we do. And, you know, just like they're so passionate about their in-ring, you know, and performing that style, like I'm that passionate about commentary and performing what I do and having to do what I do. And we do it because we love it. And then when you get the recognition from, I mean, it's great to get, you know, I love signing little kids skateboards or t-shirts or whatever, you know, I love being able to make time for fans and do the photos and things like that. But when you're backstage or when you're seeing stuff on socials and you're getting recognition from your peers, that hits very different. And I was on the way to our last show in Blackpool for Odyssey Pro Wrestling, and I listened to the podcast on wrestling with John's Wrestling Podcast with Ethan Edwards, the GM and one of the owners of Odyssey Pro Wrestling. And he spent a minute talking about when he got the opportunity to commentate with me at Extreme Fields on the Odyssey Pro Wrestling Showcase match. And I'll be completely honest, Adam, and with everybody who's listening and watching this, is I started crying. I was in the car and I actually started crying because you don't ask for it. I don't ask for clout or the recognition. I do what I do because I love doing what I do and I'm good at what I do and I want to continue to do it. But when you get that sort of stuff without asking for it or feeling like you need it, it's a very special moment. And, you know you're doing something right. And yeah, you know, long may that continue. So yeah, you know, there's promotions I still want to, you know, hopefully work for in the future. And, you know, yeah, TNT was a great place. Again, some really memorable moments there. I think I've spoken for about 10 minutes straight. Sorry.
Don't worry about it at all. I was invested. I was lost in that then. It's not a problem at all. I love having people on like that because it makes my job very easy. Right, I'm trying to pick something out of that I can talk about there. You mentioned the recognition though. I I get that 100%. Um, I've had people come up to me, and I'm in my eyes, I'm what 50 subs strong, and that's incredible for me. That for me right now is massive. I The gratitude, I can't put it into words. That's why over Christmas
Yeah.
when I put that video out, that Christmas video for me was, it meant more for me. That was my way of saying thank you
Yeah.
for that year.
Yeah.
But when you get people coming up to you saying, "Yeah, keep doing what you're doing. You're doing a great job," it's like it's gratification. It's
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
it's basically saying like you're like, okay, yeah, I'm doing a good job.
Yeah.
I
100%.
never really know how to take it, do you?
No, which is probably why I started crying, to be honest, Adam, because I just wasn't sure what to do with it. But he said some really nice things. And the good thing with Odyssey as well is Ethan Edwards goes out of his way. So when you get your pay in an envelope at the end of the night, he goes out of his way to write a little note. But in that note, that day, because I got to the show, I hugged him and I said, "I hate you." And he was like, "Why?" I was like, "Because you made me cry." like, so in the note on that night, he put something along the lines of, "F you, I've been too nice to you today. P.S. You rock. Keep doing what you're doing." So yeah, they really go out of their way to make their talent feel very welcome and part of the family.
Can't wait to get to my first audition show.
Yeah, definitely. You should come along, man. You
It's
should.
it's one of them because like you very rarely see me at a show without my mum. TNT
Yeah,
was one of them,
yeah,
but you
yeah.
very rarely see it because I my mum brought me up as a single parent from about 4. So like that, like I couldn't be any closer to my mum than I am right now. Every time I think that I can't, if something happens, she's my rock, my idol, and everything. So
That's beautiful, man.
we
Yeah,
go to
that's
every
really
show,
beautiful.
and
Yeah,
to see
that's really beautiful.
her because the person you see at the shows, that's a completely different person. She's very
Yeah,
shy, reserved, keeps herself to herself. At shows, she's a different person. It brings her out of the shell, and that right there is why I bring her along.
I
And
love
when I
that.
get back into training, and she sees me in the ring and winces, it would be like Janet Allen, pretty much.
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what, Adam. What I'll do for you, and I'll go through Ethan with this. Is I would like to offer you and your mum tickets to Odyssey Pro Wrestling in April, if you can make it to War on the Shore in Morecambe. I'd like to offer both you and your mum the opportunity to come up and experience OPW, and that's on me.
F you, because you're gonna make me cry now.
I'd love you to be
Kidding.
there, and I would love your mum to be there. So please do come, and I will put those 2 tickets aside for you.
You're a hero.
Oh man, it's the least. I think it would be great to have you down, and I think it would be beautiful for both you and your mum to make the trip up to the seaside and come and see Odyssey Pro Wrestling in its full force. So yeah, I will put those 2 tickets aside.
I don't know what to say. I, you've made a podcaster speechless.
That's the end of your career, dude.
I've peaked. I have peaked now.
Oh man, it's all good. I'd love to see you there. It'd be good to see you there.
I've only heard good things ever. I've only ever heard good things. The crowd is apparently ridiculously insane. I just it's I've been on record saying this. It is number one bucket list for this year because 2021 first TNT show, first Catch show. I got to shows that I never thought I'd ever go to in my life. I've seen technically at TNT Extreme Phase, I've technically seen Odyssey ish because it
Yeah,
was
yeah,
part of the
yeah,
show,
yeah,
but
yeah.
yeah, I need to get to one of those shows. It's
The
I,
Morecambe crowd are the most bonkers crowd I've ever been a part of. There are times where both Kurt and I are having to project even louder because all we can hear in our ears are the crowd, and that's amazing. I love it. I love how they get invested. So yeah, I think, and being War on the Shore as well, April, obviously, because it's our kind of, I don't know, would you call it our WrestleMania maybe? It's going to be an explosive show. We've got a lot planned. The card is going to be insane. So I am very, very excited. I think I'll be very nervous going into that one, but I can't wait to get stuck into it. It's going to be a very, very special show.
I, I've been rocked.
You'll be fine, man. You'll be fine. You'll enjoy it. You can get some candy floss before you come to the venue.
Could make a day of it. Could make
Yeah,
a day of it.
exactly. Yeah.
I love Morecambe. That's the thing. I went up about mid. I think it was sometime last year. I think we went up because I got an A level in photography. I love photography, so we went up right, and took all the photos. And one of them, my mum actually blew up on a canvas and it's hung up in the bathroom, which is quite surreal, really.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
makes me feel somewhat like an artist, maybe. But I love Morecambe. Right, I had you can have such a love. It's the seashore and everything is beautiful,
It
and
is. It's very windy
yeah,
up there, but it's
very,
lovely.
very, yeah.
Yeah. On a monthly basis, I see a bin flying down a street or something. It's mental. But yeah, it's a great place.
It made taking photos a bit of a task because you know that
Yeah,
it's
I
got
can imagine. Yeah. Yeah, it definitely has that effect. But, yeah, hopefully you get to experience it in April then.
yes, yes. We are bit of boring talk at work going on to a fixed rota soon, so I'll have to see what's going on and
Yeah,
then see
sure.
where we
Let me
are.
know, and I'll get those tickets reserved for you.
Thank you. Yeah.
You're more than welcome, man. You're more than welcome.
I'm gonna. You mentioned a specific wrestler earlier, by the way, and I just want to bring light to her, and that's Tonga, because
Yes.
I watched her debut in Future Shock. I had her on a few weeks ago, and I can't basically put into words how amazing and humble she is and how damn talented she is.
Yeah.
It was a special podcast, that one.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
she's wonderful.
She's incredible. She is another one that has really thrived. I have worked with her now multiple times, and every time I see something new or see a new quirk with her or a new development, and it's beautiful to watch when you see this incredible young talent just shine the way people like Tonga or Alexis Falcon or Lizzie Evo do. And, you know, two of those I've known longer than I have Tonga, but I've worked with Tonga a lot more recently in the last year than probably most people, to be honest. So it's been amazing. But I did, just because I've been in ring training recently with Future Shock. I went along to their show a couple of weeks ago, and she had a 5-star match with Lizzie Evo. One of the most physical matches I think I've seen since wrestling's been back. It was absolutely unbelievable. So yeah, it just shows that she's holding her own against the best in the country right now, and it's only a matter of time, I think, until she gets a contract put in front of a face, and that'd be amazing to see. So yeah, I think there's some great things. I think the British wrestling scene is the best it's been, since 2016, 2017. I really do. I think we are stronger now, and we have some amazing promotions. We have some of the best talent I think we've ever had. Don't get me wrong. Obviously, the days of, the whole big strong boys and you had Zaya Brookside coming through, Haskins and Brooks and all these guys, Kid Like Us, flying the flag. But I think now the amount of talent that there are, and the depth and the ability, I think outweighs that now. I think we're at our strongest position.
I'll jump to that question because that was one of my questions. What your view was on the current landscape of the British wrestling team? Because what you just said then, I personally believe we are at the single best avenue of like the best era of British wrestling that I've personally seen. I got into the scene I got into it at 2017.
Yeah.
That's when I just about started watching British indies. It was Future Shock at 53-2. Rest in peace, that venue. Tiny but
wow.
brilliant.
Yeah. Back in the day. Wow.
Yeah.
I think I do generally think we are in the best place. I mean, you look at schools like Future Shock, and I may be a little bit biased here because I've been training there, but best school in the country for me. There are some other great schools, especially further north you go as well, up in Newcastle. There's a great school there that HD Drake is running. Gia Adams is certainly part of that as well. But for me, Future Shock is just not to ruin his gimmick because it annoys him when you do that. But Sam Bailey is one of the most talented people when it comes to in-ring psychology I have ever met. He can show you a move, but he'll question why you're going to put it in a match, and then he'll make you find there's a reason for everything and why everything works the way it does. And Sam Bailey is probably the best person at finding that and helping you structure and put things together. Everything has to have a meaning, and the way that you're shown with Bailey is very, very. There's always a psychological element, and that's so important, I think. And it's a great atmosphere. You walk into Future Shock, and everyone just wants you to do well. Yeah. Everybody wants to help you. Everybody wants to share their knowledge with you. Nobody is me, or I know this and you don't. Or it's just like, how can I help you develop more? How can I? You can show a move to somebody. So I was at training, and somebody that I train with, her and Big Guns Joe were trying to move, and Big Guns Joe was just like, well, this is how you could probably make it better, that it makes more sense of why you would do it. And that's the knowledge. Even though Big Guns Joe at the moment is, he's flying over to WXW in Germany, he's doing all these amazing things with Progress and ICW and wherever else he's at, TNT, and he still wants to share that knowledge, because that's what Future Shock is like. That's what British wrestling is like right now, is we all just want to help each other. We want to be successful. We want British wrestling to thrive again. And I love that. I love that there's no ego anymore. I'm sure there's still a couple floating around, but the majority of it is how can we all better one another, to help this thing grow. And I think that's beautiful.
Yeah, I don't agree more at all. Of course, I started my training at Future Shock, and there just aren't enough words put into a sentence to say how great it is.
Yeah.
I don't want to bury his gimmick too much, but Sam Bailey is truly just a phenomenal coach. He truly is.
Yeah, yeah,
Chris Brooker for promos. Always got
yeah. Oh, yeah,
always got
yeah,
time. Like, if you have a
yeah,
question, he's got an answer.
yeah, yeah. Again, another smart man, another
Very,
very
very.
intelligent guy, very funny guy, which is why he does stand up. But yeah, he's another person who I never really get enough time with Chris when we're at shows because we're both very busy doing our own
Yeah.
thing. Um, but any time that I have spoken to him, and I remember I was training at Future Shock a few weeks ago, and he was there for the duration, taking videos and stuff and sending them me. And anytime you get to interact with him, you learn something. And I have always been a firm believer in surrounding myself with people who are better than me because that makes me better. And then I can pass that knowledge on, and that the ladder keeps going, and I think that's how British wrestling is starting to feel now. Is we're all learning, and we're all evolving, we're all growing together, and yeah, I love that is a thing.
Yeah. Yeah. It's one of them where I'm gonna plug this in because my headset is dying.
Technical issues.
Uh, I'm prepared, I promise. Um, it's one of them where the more welcoming you are and the better the scene is, the more people will want to try it and more people will want to get involved. And you see, because LWF, in my eyes, is a perfect example of this because it's a feeder, like Future Shock's a feeder.
Yeah,
LWF, LWF, you got people like Kate and Steen and Helena Reyes and Clash, all the Shannon Wizard, basically. You've
yeah,
got the Wrecking Crew, you've got Stephen Cross, who, my lord, like the intensity that man brings. He had a
yeah,
phenomenal match
yeah,
with
yeah.
Lock and Sharp.
Well,
Lock and
yeah.
Sharp,
Well,
another
I
one.
mean, yeah. I mean, so I was actually at Future Shock when Lachlan Sharp, and who was his original opponent? He got injured the day before the show. I can't remember, but
Ooh,
they were going through the match, and that was my first time witnessing Stephen Cross when I was ring announcing. Uh, and what a talent! I
yeah,
mean, to look and speak to him backstage, you kind of just you don't know what to expect, but you watch him in that ring, and wow! I mean, I was just blown away. I think he's definitely got something to offer, and yeah, Aitonstein, that young man has a bright future. Uh, Incredible talent, and every time I see him, I always get a big warm hug. A great person, a very very bubbly, positive human being to be around. Um, and LWF's another promotion that I've been very fortunate to work for. I love ring announcing for them. I am booked for Slamaganza, so I'm looking forward to being back there. But yeah, it's amazing that there are so many promotions. And as you say, I love that Future Shock book their trainees. I love that LWF do the same. I love that they invest in their talent. They're not just a training school for the sake of it. They're going, no, 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 we're training you because we want you on our shows. I feel that certain training schools, more so in the past than now, didn't used to do that, and I felt that that was kind of, why are you not investing in your own talent? Um, it never made sense to me, but yeah, it's really great to see places like Future Shock and LWF that are doing exactly that. It's That Future Shock show was probably one of my favorite shows I've ever been to on the Indies. I also
one of
think
them, yeah,
Catch are doing amazing. So it's my
yeah.
birthday tomorrow, Adam, and I'm spending it at Catch, and I'm
Happy
looking
birthday
forward
for
to
tomorrow.
that. Oh, thank you so much, man. Appreciate that. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing Kanji wrestle. So I've spoken with Kanji on multiple occasions, but never seen a wrestle live. So very excited to see that one with Lizzie Evo. Obviously, the whole Thelwell Scotty tag team will be an amazing, Thelwell, Danny Proper,
The banter bus.
banter bus. That's it. Yeah, the banter bus. So yeah, that'll be another explosive one. I mean, there's 7 matches on that card. I can't wait. So that is the perfect place for me to spend my birthday. And I think they're doing some amazing things at the moment. Catch.
Oh yeah, massively. Like catch up. There's never a show. There's never a card because unfortunately with work, it's very difficult for me to get to a catch show. Like my first catch show was when Thelwell won the title against Kev Lloyd in the main event. Like that was my first catch, and you never see a card and think. You always see a card and think, okay, I wish I was there.
Yeah,
I want to work so I can get the money to go, but then I work. I can't go because I'm working.
Yeah. It's mad. For me, they're top of my list at the moment. Promotions I want to work for. They're unbelievable. I always go, and enjoy watching as a fan, but obviously I'm surrounded by a lot of my friends there, so it's just great to see them all doing amazing things. And I really can't wait for tomorrow. Yeah, very excited.
I do think, going back to the Future Shot show, I do think there's one match that I want to bring up because, well, holy shit. That was Danny Proper and Chris Ridgway.
Oh, yeah.
That was a side of Danny Proper I've never seen before.
No, definitely not. The side I'm usually used to seeing is the cocky and arrogant one. And even when we're at training, I remember people were springboarding into the ring, and Bailey was, I think I'd only been training about 3 weeks at this point. Bailey was like, "Come on, Si, when are you going to springboard in the ring?" And I was like, "What?" Yeah. So I tried it.
I remember
first time I got it. Yeah, you probably saw it on Twitter. And then Danny turned around, was like on the side of the apron, was like, "I hate you." He's like, "I've been training 3 years and I can't do that. You've done it after 3 weeks."
Yeah. They did that one labor training there as well, and the first time I did it, I almost ended up on my arse. Is that springboard over the top into the ring?
No, on the rope and then into the ring.
Oh yes, I've done that. Not that.
So I did it the first time. The second and third time, I landed face first. Fortunately, we had the crash mat. Fourth time, I actually did it properly because obviously, naturally, your brain's going, "Don't let go of the rope." Because you've got something to hold on to, but you have to let go of the rope to get up there and balance. So yeah, it's people don't realize the amount of psychology that goes into just every little detail in wrestling. It's insane. But yeah, so that match was mental. Danny really, he hung well with Ridgway.
Oh God, yeah.
And put out a really solid match. Another great match on that card, and I think somebody who really deserves a mention is Tony Wright. When he went against Sam Bailey, I mean, that match. If Lizzie and Tonga weren't on that card, then that was match of the night. Unbelievable, absolutely incredible storytelling throughout. Both gave it their all, and Tony Wright, last minute, from training to making his Future Shot debut, really, really showed out, and that man has got a bright future.
Tony Wright, for me, is one of my favorite people.
Oh yeah,
it just goes without saying. There's no hesitation, no like, oh well, what about this? No, like Tony, everything about that man is so wholesome and so loving, and I just he's been through hardships in his life, and for him to be where he is, nothing but the utmost respect for Tony Wright and that performance. I mean, there aren't many better you could have been in the ring with. Tony held his own perfectly. So I've got all the time in the world for Tony Wright and more.
Yeah, phenomenal athlete. Yeah, brilliant, and he's got a great future.
Yes, I can't wait to see it. I'd
No,
love to
me
share the
too.
ring with him in the future. I'd love
Oh
that.
man, that'd be a dream. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love it. It would be the best thing because he's just such a lovely person, and he'll make sure you fully clothed or a roof over your head before he even looks at himself.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the sort of person Tony Wright is, and yeah, to watch him, do what he did with Bailey was amazing. It really was. So yeah, I can't wait to see. I mean, the next Future Shot show a few weeks away, so hopefully he's going to be booked on that as well.
Yeah, yeah. Strike while the iron's hot because the reaction he got just showed that the respect the fans have for him as well as the people in the back. Like,
Oh yeah,
we've seen his journey
he
from
deserved it.
announcer, commentator, everything. We've seen him backstage interviewer. So it's not like he's new. So to see him step in the ring, it's just great. It was fantastic.
Yeah. He put the work in and he deserves it. He deserves it. He really does.
Perfectly put. Yeah. He's put the work in. What would you say, commentary wise, is the best match, or like put like a few that you've called? Because it might be a bit difficult saying best.
Ooh, yeah. There's a lot of good ones. Oh man. One of them is definitely, I actually put as my match of the year over every promotion, including like AEW and WWE. Was a triple threat at TNT, Ignition. I think it might have been Level Up. I'm not sure if I got that right. It was Sonny Durson versus Cameron Solis versus Scott Oberman triple threat match. That match for me was incredible. Definitely match of the year last year for me. All three men did not care about their bodies and were happy to put it through hell. Cameron's a bit of a lunatic and will dive off anything anyway. But Durson went back to the old Sonny Durson, the bits of high flying and the risk taker. And, it wasn't all about the technical brawly stuff. He really, really put himself out, and there was some incredible spots in that match. So that was definitely one of them. I think Lizzie Evo versus Alexis Falcon, the 30-woman Ironman match, calling that was emotional because, I've known both women now 3 and a bit years and seen them where they were when we first met and we first did a backstage interview is light years difference to where they both are now. And to see that journey and even have small parts of that it was very emotional. It was a great match. Again, both incredible storytellers, and there's a lot of stuff, even backstage that, took place there that made it all the more special. So that was definitely one of them. Crowning the first ever TNT, the crowning the first TNT world champion in 2 years after it was vacated. That fatal 4-way match was insane. And Adam Maxted getting added in last minute on that show was something else. But you had Dan Maloney, Nathan Cruz, and Dean Allmark, and Adam Maxted. It was just fast-paced, high-octane action, and 4 people that just wanted to beat the shit out of each other, and they absolutely did. So that again was another special match. That was a great match. Another one, I'll tell you what was a lot of fun was our Odyssey Pro Wrestling Women's Championship match between Lizzie Evo, Tonga, Gia Adams, and Alexis Falcon.
The best going right now.
Yeah, and I think that's what I said on comms, maybe something along those lines of these 4 women are the trailblazers in this country right now.
Mm-hmm.
And to call that and to crown Tonga as our first ever Odyssey Pro Wrestling Women's Champion was a very, very special moment. It was powerful in so many ways for so many reasons. And just to witness the reaction, it was unbelievable. So yeah, I've had lots of really, really great matches. On my first show for TNT commentating, we had Clint Margera versus Session Moth Martina. It was Session Goth Martina she came out as. And that is probably the most bonkers death match I've ever witnessed. It was absolutely batshit crazy, and it was really good. So, yeah, I could probably go on forever, Adam, to be honest. There's been that many great moments, and I think there's going to be a lot more, especially now with Odyssey and Kamikaze. Hopefully there's a few more cropping up in the near future. But yeah, I've been very fortunate to just call some really, really, really great matches. I mean, RPD versus Sam Bailey at Odyssey Pro Wrestling, the second one, stole the show. That was in Blackpool only a few weeks ago. That was unreal. Those two have great chemistry in the ring. Sam Bailey's a nightmare, and RPD doesn't stand for his shit. So, it was great to see, RPD Superman punch his jaw into the third row. Really enjoyed that.
Pretty sure whoever caught that draw liked it as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Sound clip that and send it to Sam Bailey.
When you look at the landscape right now and the fact that you've probably touched on about that much is insane.
Yeah. No, it's unreal. It's unreal. And that's why I think there's plenty more to come, Adam, because I'm very excited about this year. There's a lot of cool opportunities, a lot of cool things that I'm doing behind the scenes at the moment, things that I'm not allowed to speak about just yet, but I will be able to. And the fact that I get to still commentate and ring announce for these amazing promotions. I get to work with my friends. I get to see these great people doing great things. And I mentioned Synergy earlier, two of the nicest guys I've ever met in my life. And so I remember getting back from Poland and getting a call from Steve Bibby, who said, "Look, can you come and fill in? Need a ring announcer for LWF." Yeah, brilliant. And then literally from that show, then I was at TNT, then Odyssey with them, and TNT and Odyssey and LWF. And I got to know them, and they're amazing people. They're so positive and energetic backstage, and they really create a great vibe. Not just that, but you look at the development that they've gone through, the cycle they've gone through in the ring. There's a reason on comms that I call them one of the most dominant tag teams in British wrestling right now, because they really are. They're incredible athletes who have no right to do the things that they do. But they pull it off with great ease and finesse, and they have one of the most beautiful souls and attitudes backstage to be around. So nothing but good things to say about them. And I get to see all these sort of people on a regular basis, and I get to do that as a job, and I'm very lucky.
Having both members of Synergy, Troy and Daniels, on my podcast was a pleasure. It's just nothing short of an absolute pleasure, because they are terrifying, and it's insulting and hurtful that they have the capabilities to do what they can do.
Yeah.
Because the talent, every time you think you've seen everything, they come up with something new. The talent pool is just, it's unlimited. There's nothing, you can't sit here and quantify just how good they are. You can't put it into words. You need to see it live.
Yeah, 100%. Couldn't agree more. And they are worth the ticket price alone.
Massively.
And I'm so glad they're getting all these big opportunities, because they really deserve them. They really do. So, and do you know what? Another thing that a lot of people may not realize is they're both hilarious.
Oh God, yeah. Oh my
They're so
God.
funny. They're so funny.
I don't think I've ever met anybody as self-defecating as Anderson Daniels. He will rinse himself before he rinses anybody else.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, I mean Troy Ryan's kind of the same as well. You
Yeah,
know, the banter on those two is amazing, and I look forward to it every time.
they're so easy to get on
Yeah,
with and talk to, and they've got time for everyone, no matter what. And it's just, yeah, I can't say enough about Synergy. They are lovely, absolutely lovely.
yeah, yeah. They really are. Yeah, and I wish them all the luck in the future because they deserve it.
Yeah, if there's any two people, I guess, in this regard, that you can see in any big world promotion, you just pick up and go, there you go.
Oh yeah, you could drop
Those
them
two.
anywhere. Yeah,
It's those two.
yeah,
No matter
100%.
what, who you're with, where you are,
Yeah.
because they are big guys that can move and get things done and do things that you're never ever going to see a big guy do.
No, no. I mean, you know, some of the drop kicks that you see Troy Ryan do, you'd expect a high flyer to be doing that, you know, weighs weighs nothing more than, you know, 12, 13 stone. But these
Mm,
guys are flying around sometimes like that. But then the power side of things is also scary.
yeah.
So
I love the military press that Troy does need that close down
yeah,
gentle.
for me, it's the new stalling suplex passover that they do, which is I don't know how that went in training, or who came up with that idea. But yeah, it's a pretty special move, that one. But yeah, the whole stalling suplex, and whilst they're still in there, they'll tag the other one in, pass over the person being stalled and the suplex, and then pass over again, and then they'll drop him.
Yeah,
Absolutely amazing.
yeah, just it shouldn't be like this. But they are like they shouldn't be that talented and that good and move the way they do, but they are, and they are
Yeah.
that good and they are that great, and it's not. Yeah, it's just quickly turned into a podcast just putting synergy over. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, me too. I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that.
But I look back at like 17, 18, 19, those years, and you look at the talent that we were watching. We were watching Pete Dunne, Adrenaline
Yeah.
Champion. We were watching Wolfgang, Adrenaline Champion. T-Bone, Ashton Smith, and you look at that and think we were lucky enough to get them on a regular basis. We were.
Yeah. Yeah, we
Now
absolutely were.
you've got people like Sonny Durson. You've got ZC Evo, Alexis Falcon. Oh, those four: Falcon, Tonga, DC, and Gia. Those four. You've got so much talent now that you're looking at. Like you look at them and go, them, and like you can just pluck them and put them anywhere, and they'll sell tickets because the name value alone, they've cultivated such a name for themselves. Like I say this, I've messaged her multiple times about this. She's probably sick of me, to be honest. I put it on Twitter multiple times. But Lizzie Evo is one of, if not the most elite level right now. It's like she not just understands everything, but she manifests what it is to be a pro wrestler.
Yeah, I've always got on with Lizzie so well, and when we first met, I can still tell you exactly how it all went down. So I was backstage. I just interviewed Ace Austin,
Oh yeah.
and we were backstage. She was on the floor doing up her boots, and she made a joke, and that was our first interaction. And then when it came to doing her promo, she was so nervous, and she wanted me to help her through it. because she'd never really done many promos before. So I did, and I told her, I said, I want you to be yourself times 10. I said, I want you to put over the way you really feel on why now it's important for you to be a champion. And she was like, are you sure? And I was like, yes. And she cut this unbelievable promo like she had been doing promos for years. And I remember I posted it during the pandemic. And you had NXT talent liking it, like Sam Gradwell and Naked and all these guys. And she's an unbelievable talent, but a beautiful human being, both inside and out. And I have a lot of respect. I'll always have a lot of time for her. And, I even posted, I think it was yesterday or the day before, I posted a picture of me and her backstage at Odyssey. And I've always been super proud of her, how far she's come. I remember she was going through a lot of struggles, and, we'd always drop messages, and I'd try and help her out as much as possible by just, being positive and being happy. And, she came out of it so much stronger. And as you said, she manifests this aura. And even, when you are backstage, she's just smiling all the time. She's laughing, and you can hear her from the other side of the room. She won't thank me for that. But I think people like Lizzie, and she deserves this opportunity now with WWE. And I'm not too keen on the name change, but I'm very glad that she has got that. And I remember when she told me that this was a thing, and I was super proud of her. And I still am, and I always will be. And, she'll go off and do her own thing. And, I've been happy to be a part of that journey. I remember when I was in Poland and TNT announced that they weren't going to be doing backstage interviews anymore. They wanted to focus on one-shot promos, which is, cool. That was the vision that they wanted to go down, and I was happy with that. And Lizzie tweeted this beautiful tweet, something along the lines of, Simon Hill, you helped me grow and, be able to deliver killer promos. I'm so grateful for you. Look forward to seeing you down the road. Thank you so much. And I remember being in the gym in Poland when I got that. And again, that was another moment that made me just cry, because again, it's your peers. These people go out and do this job, and they're thanking you for helping them, evolve and just take things to the next level so they can grow and keep going. And if I was able to be a part of that, then amazing. And for somebody like Lizzie Evo to not just say that to me, but she broadcast that on her own Twitter page. And that was really a beautiful, special moment. And I'll be forever grateful for that. And I think as a talent, she's still what, 22? She has got the whole world in front of her. The whole world. And I do want to, she might be a complete dickhead when she's in the ring, and she's the ultimate heel. She knows how to play up to the crowd, but she is one of the most beautiful souls you could ever wish to meet. She really is.
I remember before the pandemic, it was 2019, we had a lovely conversation, and because I'd seen her wrestle, but never really we'd have a chat every now and then. Of course, we had this lovely conversation. It was at Blank Canvas Wrestling, and she was just phenomenal to talk to as a person, because it's who she is. It's like she's that she is that kind of person. She'd much rather see everybody else succeed, because she is simply just that kind of person. And I've put it multiple times, I don't take for granted watching anybody anymore. Not that I ever did, but I always try and let the moment sink in that I'm lucky to be watching such amazing talents. But
Yeah.
with Lizzie, you recognize the ones that are just elite level, and the
Yeah.
ones that are, as shown with her stint in NXT UK, those shows. She, what, 22?
I think she's
The
just
whole world.
gone. Yeah. I mean, I think this is why I'm so humble and privileged and honoured to be a part of this business, is because people like Lizzie. So for the last 3 years, I've got to watch somebody like Lizzie go from being so nervy backstage and wondering how she's going to get through the next kind of 15, 20 minutes to just a star, an absolute star. And when she was going through some of her hard times, I remember some of the messages back and forth, and I would just randomly put her over on Twitter, just saying how some nice words, whatever it was, and she'd quote tweet it, love this guy, and I will always be grateful that I was able to be a small part of that journey, to see her, to do the backstage interview, to then be able to call her matches, to be able to be a part of that and to witness that and to call arguably the biggest feud in British wrestling that we've seen in the last 5 years, was, with her. And, now she's on to that next chapter. She's going on to bigger things and she deserves it. She really, really does. And there's a lot of talent out there that deserve those opportunities. And I think that's what's so beautiful about the British scene right now, is it will just keep growing.
Yeah, it will, because you and I both know, you and I both have seen the talent that's training and haven't been produced on shows yet. And I've got a really good friend who's training at the moment, who he and I have a few ideas, and he wants to take this journey with me, and I want to take this journey with him. And it's just, the future could not be brighter for wrestling in general as a whole for me, but for Britain, I couldn't be any prouder to be, even as a fan. I know I've got a podcast, I'm interviewing these people, but the pride to be able to do that with the way the British scene is right now, it's pretty impossible to put into words, says the podcaster. But it is. It truly is wonderful. So I can't. It's at the point now where when the show comes up, like, you expect, you by proxy expect greatness, and that's what you get every time.
Definitely.
It's such a consistent basis.
Yeah, it really is.
I would have thoroughly enjoyed this, but I think it could potentially turn into a two-parter if we carry on. We've gone for a bit. Do you have anything you'd like to plug for the future? Any goals? Any shows? Of course.
Obviously. So my next bunch of shows, so April's looking really busy. So I'm gonna have to get the dates up, aren't I? So we're gonna do this a little bit unprofessional. Where am I and when? That's the question. So, Odyssey Pro Wrestling, obviously, War on the Shore. Very, very excited for that. It's going to be a really cool event. We've got a lot going on, a lot of cool. The card is looking great. It's obviously super historic. All of their graphics at the moment are the one that I want for the date. Oh, there we go. Saturday, the 9th of April, that one at Odyssey Pro Wrestling. Then I am also making my Kamikaze debut, which is that's at Sky's the Limit 8. Again, another amazing card. That's 22nd of April. And I'll also be at Slamaganza for LWF which I believe is the 12th, 13th of April. So yeah, lots of cool stuff going on. Obviously, I'm on social media, Simon H Official everywhere. That's Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. I do post random shit, so if you're happy with that, then give it a follow. So close to so many milestones as well, Adam, because I'm literally like, I don't know how many, like 12 followers away from 1,000 on Insta, and like 230 from 5,000 on Twitter. So I need all those numbers. I'm pretty close now to some cool milestones. But yeah, no, this has been a lot of fun, man. You're absolutely right. This could turn into a two-part. I feel like we've barely scratched the surface. We've just talked random stuff, most of it, but I've really enjoyed it. It's been great to chat. I'd love to do part 2 in the future. So yeah, let's definitely do that.
That means the world to me. Thank you so much. This has been a genuine pleasure. Thank you. And
It's been awesome, man. Thank you for
everyone
having
else,
me.
thank you very much as well. We'll see you later.